Hey, how's it going? It's Sam Frost here, back with some more digital marketing advice. Now, today's video, I want to talk about this somewhat disturbing but interesting trend I'm seeing where ad platforms like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, LinkedIn Ads, and so on are starting more and more to basically include these kind of tool tips or pointers within the application interfaces where you're setting up your ads that are really just cleverly guised ways of the ad platform trying to get more money out of you. I've been doing quite a bit with Google ad reviews for clients and also LinkedIn advertising reviews for clients, and those two platforms are actually quite bad at it. Facebook, funnily enough, doesn't seem quite so bad, but they do have elements of this as well. Basically what I'm talking about is when you go on a platform, Google Ads is an easy one to sort of explain how it works. You go through and you set up your campaign and you follow the steps. And what you'll find is that throughout the setup process, there are these kind of tool tips or not really warnings or errors that appear, but basically these little flags that show up with notifications saying, hey, we recommend you do the following, or if you turn this off, you're missing out on impressions or clicks or so on. So a really common example of this is when you go through the campaign setup process, by default, Google will opt a search campaign into display network features and also into the search partners network. Now, realistically, you should never ever blend search campaign with the display campaign features, even though that's the default option. And the reason for this is that search advertising and display advertising are very, very different in terms of the principle of what you're trying to achieve, sort of targeting methodology and so on. Now, when you go and you turn off that default option, what Google does is they actually flash up a warning saying, if you turn this off, you're going to miss out on a whole load of impressions and clicks, or words to that effect. Same if you turn off the search partners. Search partners can be a more valid strategy, though. It's usually worth keeping that enabled, at least to start with, and then split out at a sort of reporting level the performance differential. But this is just one example that I've seen within Google Ads. Within LinkedIn Ads, same thing happens if you try and disable the LinkedIn audience network, for example, or you try and disable audience expansion, both of which are enabled by default when creating a LinkedIn Ads campaign. Or once again, back within Google, there's all sorts of things that they'll try and do, like if you, change your location settings certain ways, for example, to be more precise with the targeting, or you're going to miss out on potential ad impressions and clicks, and so on. And typically what this is the ad platform, whether it's Google or LinkedIn or Facebook, trying to nudge you down the direction of features that are ultimately benefiting them more. Now, the display network feature, select whatever you want to call it in Google, that's a great example, because really what's happening there is when you turn that off, you're going to have fewer impressions, you're going to have fewer clicks, your cost per click will go up when you're looking at it at a sort of blended search and display level. And so Google, in theory they're correct, right? When you turn that off, you're going to see more expensive clicks, fewer impressions, but ultimately the quality of the traffic you're getting should actually improve. It's just that you're not going to drive as much volume, and possibly Google's not going to get as much click revenue out of you. And in my view, this approach, it's sort of at least a bit dishonest, sort of bordering on really unfair to smaller advertisers, those who are trying to do DIY setups, those who don't have the budget to pay for agencies or freelancers or in-house specialists who understand the sort of ins and outs of these platforms. Because as a do-it-yourself advertiser, you're probably just going to follow through the steps that Google or LinkedIn or Facebook gives you. And okay, more and more some of this automated setup is actually doing quite a good job. I've seen some ad accounts recently in Google, for example, that are for smaller local businesses where they've just done a very basic sort of smart campaign setup like Google's pushed them through. And the actual results are really not that bad. They could be improved on, but when you consider that the business owners set up the ads, they just pay the bill and they don't really do anything else, it's honestly not bad at all. But at the same time, if you're trying to set up something more complex, if you're trying to, advertise something that Google's automation doesn't quite understand so well, or LinkedIn's automation and so on, and you wind up getting a whole load of inflated impressions and clicks, and lower than you should be paying cost per clicks, but it's all lower quality traffic than you'd otherwise get because you've opted into these recommended features. It's not a great thing from an advertiser's perspective. So at a high level, what I'd be saying, it's not really there, that recommendation, to give you advice that is necessarily going to benefit your business. It's more about helping the platform deliver you probably an overinflated representation of what you're actually getting, because you look at the reporting and go, wow, I'm getting so many impressions and clicks for a great cost, this must be doing really well. It's more about fluffing up the numbers from the ad platform's end, and then also extracting effectively more advertising revenue from you as well. So just something to be aware of. Do take all these recommendations with a grain of salt. Focus on really good quality fundamental setups of sound targeting and good ad creative and copy and so on. And that's going to be more effective than relying on these in-platform recommendations that, yeah, while they might have some benefit to you, I do think you really do need to be wary of them, because often they're set up to benefit the ad platform more than they are to benefit you. If you've got any questions, please do let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.